Hello Spidlings, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world today, and welcome back to this quick episode of Satisfactory. So in this episode we are focusing on the blueprint design as seen here. So we've had a bit of a problem with the audio, so this is actually a quick voiceover that I'm doing for the episode. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to explain what we're actually aiming to do. So we're looking at doing 3 blueprints today. So the first one is, as you can see, is a 4 by 1 meter concrete slab. So this is just to help us put down foundations at a quicker rate. We're also going to look at doing the 4 by 4 logistics floor. And then we're going to do a Caterium Outpost. So as you can see, you jump into the computer terminal here, type in your blueprint name in the description if you like to, and then in your directory you can actually decide where you'd like to save your blueprints. So you can see here we've saved it into the Foundations tab that we've created. You can select an icon so that you can easily see what each one is, and in this one we actually choose the 1 meter foundation, so we can just quickly look at it and see exactly what it is. But you can see all the parts here that you can create and all the building parts that you can create. They are all here at your disposal, so you've got plenty of variety to make sure that all of your blueprints stand out from what they actually are. So then we can also change the background color of the blueprint design if we wish, and then we click the save blueprint button. Saves the blueprint for us. And then we can just jump into our main tabs, and if you look at the very top there's a blueprint tab. We click on that, go to the category, and in the subcategory there is the foundation that we're after. So we just throw that down here just to see what it looks like. It is a little bit fiddly when you're trying to snap it to already placed foundations, or even just to snap it to the world grid that you've already set up yourself. So I think that's going to involve a little bit of playtime off camera to see if I can get that to actually function properly and to actually work. But once you do get it on, you can kind of eyeball it, which we did here, so that we can actually line it up with the foundations, as you can see there. And then on the next one that we put down, I think we do actually manage to get the green line to be able to tell us that we are snapped on in the right place. Yeah, there it is. Just go back a bit. There we go. Excellent. Bosh, down goes that one, and that is the slab connected. Right, so if we head back over to the terminal on the Blueprint Designer, on the bottom left we click the clear design. You can actually get rid of everything that is on the blueprint bed, as you can see. And then in the little crate on the right hand side, all the materials you've used are put into the storage for you to collect. So everything you use on the Blueprint Designer, like everything else in Satisfactory, is 100% refundable. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set out our logistics floor blueprint. So we're just going to go 4 wide. Now when you're on the actual bed of it, the items I noticed weren't actually snapping unless you actually directed it directly at the item. So you can actually get the items to overlap a little bit. So if you're looking at making some intricate little things, like light posts or lamp posts, or those sort of things, or various other different things, you will be able to get things to clip over each other without any problems. So we lay the walls down here as well, just so that we can get ourselves the spacing required to get the logistics floor at the correct height. So we put a couple of the 1 meter floorings, because the second 1 meter flooring is where the foundation is going to go. So that's going to give us 5 meters of clearance underneath the floors, which is, in my opinion, for me, is plenty. I would do more, but with the blueprints area, we are quite limited for space. And I wanted to make sure that we could still fit in the smelting floor and the constructor's floor for the Caterium Outpost we were doing. So when we do the actual logistics floor blueprint, I might come back and do it again and make a little bit more space, because I know when we did the steel setup, we had 2 of the 4 meter walls and then the 1 meter wall boundary on top. So we're just clearing the walls out here because what I want to do is I want to make this able to be linked together. So we want to keep it open because the factories we're going to build obviously aren't all going to be your generic 4x4. So that just gives us the ability to be able to bolt these onto each other. So again, just like we did with the concrete, when we go in here and pop in what the name of the foundation is, you can see there on the right hand side as well there is a cost. So this is telling you how much materials is needed to make the current blueprint that you have within the designer. So we're just setting ourselves up setting up where we're putting this blueprint. So again, it's in foundation, but we're setting up a subcategory so that we can put it in the logistics, so that we know that this is a logistics floor. So we've applied the changes, we've saved it there, and there you can see the cost on the right hand side. Again, we choose ourselves another tab. I believe we use the splitter on this one just so that we can actually see in the splitter on there that it's to do with logistics. And then the bottom right to save the blueprint, and the left to clear it. That disappears, and all the items are back into the little storage box. So we have ourselves, just to show that we've got it built, we're just going to chuck this down here, and it is as simple as point, click, and there she goes. So when we came back to start on the Caterium one, I thought to myself, I wonder if we can put an existing blueprint onto the blueprint machine. So of course we had to give it a go. So we just tried to get it lined up. This is telling us that it's not lined up and it's actually overshooting it. Once we get it in line, you bet your bottom dollar we can actually put a blueprint that we've already made down. So that makes the logistics floor on the bottom nice and easy to make. So the rest of the Caterium factory is going to take place on top and underneath the logistics floor. So we're going to have the logistics floor underneath. We're going to have the smelters on this floor that we're currently on top of now. Above the smelters, we're going to put another logistics floor in to direct the Caterium bars. And then the top floor is going to be the constructors, turning those bars into Quickwire. So we are setting this up for 6 smelters, which takes an input of 270 Caterium ore. So that's going to involve us needing to, on the node, putting a Mark II miner down and slightly overclocking that to the 270 mark. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this to time-lapse for you so you can actually watch the build at your leisure. And then once we've got the build complete, we shall come back at the end part of it. And then we'll quickly go over to the Caterium node and we shall place it down at the node. Okay, so there we have it. As you saw from the time lapse, we also put in the power connections as well, which you're able to do inside. And we also went through all the machines and put the recipes in place as well. I cut that bit out, I didn't want you to have to sit and go through all that boring, laborious part. But yeah, so once you change the recipes to what you want on the blueprint, when you re-put that blueprint down elsewhere, those recipes are also saved as well. So that's a handy little thing. So you have to go through all the machines once you've placed the blueprint down to make sure everything is in place as it is. Now we did forget, as you can just see up there in the top right corner, that we forgot to attach a certain part of that blueprint together, and you'll see in a moment that's going to be a bit of a pain when we put it down. So this took me forever and a day to kind of get this down, but as you can see, we've just plonked the blueprint down and away it's all gone. It was extremely fiddly to try and get placed down. As you can see, it's not level with the level I was trying to get it to put to be. I've tried to put down some foundations to try and lift it up a little bit, but it just kept wanting to snap to that bottom of that foundation instead. So we made amends, we made do as to what we could do. So you can see that we're putting in a ramp here, just so that the ores have a nice clean flow into the splitter at the front. So we've got this bin here that we've got the Caterium ore backed up into, just as a little bit of a buffer, and it's a good job we've done so because we hadn't changed the miner to a Mark II miner just yet at this point. So as you can see, the Caterium ore's going straight into the system. I don't think we've got it powered up just yet. No, we haven't. You can see it's stopping at the tops of the ramps. So I did notice now that when we get into the building, you can see here there's some of the cones are sticking out through the floor and that. Getting a little bit janky, so I'm not quite sure if it's actually supposed to do that, if it's a bug from the blueprint scanner, or if it was just in fact the way that I'd put the cones themselves. So what I do is I actually delete them and I replace them all, because I didn't realise at the time when I was deleting them that they were actually disappearing from down below. So we jump back down and we pop them all back into place again. I mean, it's only a minor little thing to have to deal with. You know, it's not like we're having to redo the entire factory like we've had to do in the past. We've built the whole thing from scratch, so you know, it's no biggie to me. I don't quite mind, quite enjoy doing it myself, to be honest. So time to put the power on and see what this puppy does. So as soon as we connect it up, you can tell that the materials is the recipes are in place, because the material is just flowing straight into those smelters. You can see that the bars are coming straight off at the back end. So we jump up to the next floors as well, just to see what's going on. But the first thing we do is attach the holes at the back, because we forgot to do that. Again, didn't realise that we'd put those as Mark 1s instead of Mark 3s, but we rectify that pretty quickly in the end. So we can see the Quickwire there is on its way down into the storage bins. One line on one side doing 240, and the line on the other side doing the 240 as well. So we've just thrown ourselves a little ramp down here just so we can get easy access up to the upper floors. So as you can see, we've got the Caterium coming through from the back side of the factory. You can see the Quickwire getting stuck there, which is what makes me realise we need to change the lifts outside. Did first think it was the belts on the bottom floor, so we jumped down to check those first, and then I realised that once I'd seen that it wasn't the belts on the bottom floor, it was in fact that we need to go out and change the lifts outside. You can see I'm slowly coming down. Out we go, and again it's just a quick change with the mouse wheel to copy it, pressing E twice to get the Mark III lifts, simple as, and down they go. So what we're doing here is we're just grabbing some of the ores to jump start the system a little bit. So it's just so that we can get all the bars coming through and having all the smelters running operational. So you can see the first ones are already full, second ones are only a little bit full, and the back ones again are just about getting enough ores. So by doing this, we're just giving the system a chance to jump start. That means from then on that it should run at a full capacity. So we just do a check at the back to see that the bars are coming through. At this point I'm sort of wondering why there's only 3s coming through and not 6s. And this is where we jump down just to check that everything's connected, and we realise the mistake I was on about earlier. So again, quickly rectified. Again, we put the Mark 1s in by accident, so again it's another quick change with the middle mouse button to the Mark 3s, and then we just sit here just to watch them all cycle through, just to make sure that it's all running smooth and efficiently. And then we head upstairs to see what's going on up there. So as you can see now, we've got the 6 coming through. 1's just lagging a little bit, but we've got the 6 that are coming through. So back upstairs, we just check to see that the bars are coming through. We can see the Quickwires coming out of the end constructor. So we can see that everything is moving and grooving as it should do. So now is the point where we realise that the Mark 1 miner actually needs upgraded to a Mark 2 miner. There we go. Nice, quick and easy fix. Chuck a power shard in it, and then we change the parts that we need to 270 per minute. That'll just take a moment to get started again, but as I say, we've got the backup here. We've got the little buffer going, so that's no problem at all. So we jump right up to the top floor now so we can have a look that the constructors are doing their thing. Again, you can see the cones are a little bit janky, a little bit funky going on up here. I've not quite got an idea as to why that is. It says that they're not connected looking at it there, but they are indeed in fact connected. So I do just delete that one and we just put it back into place. No idea as to why it's looking like that, but they are all in fact working, so a little bit of a strange one there. So again, this is a thing that we're just going to have a quick look at off camera. Might have a look in some of the forums and see if other people are having the same similar sort of problems. But again, as I said, all the lights are on green, so things are actually moving and grooving and the items are flowing. So all that leaves for us to do is to head on back to the blueprint designer. So this Spiderlings, again, thank you very much for joining me on this quick little run through and play with the blueprint designer. Again, it's the very first time we've ever built and ever used it. We've not really got into much of the update 7 stuff at the moment, so I'm hoping we can use it a little bit more moving forward to make things progress a little bit quicker. So we've got ourselves a nice little logistics floor built over here that we can now use. I'm going to have a play off camera to see about how we join them all together, because it seemed to be a little bit finicky when we put them together, and the cones and that for the lifts that we were putting in, they were a little bit dodgy as well. So we'll have a little play around, see what we can do off camera, so we can find any more bugs or any more issues that we had with it, and we'll have a quick run through and a tear down in the next episode, which will be back to normal as next week on Wednesday. So a side note again, we've had a little bit of information that there is going to be update 8 coming around the corner. There's a teaser video being released by Coffee Stain themselves, so I'll add the link to that video in the description for you guys to check that out. And yeah, so it just leaves me to say that I hope you have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.